We are live. Welcome to 2017, and today, January 2nd, is the very first monthly Shred Nation Surge of 2017. My name is Robb Pearson, and I am so excited to be able to kick off the new year and kick off this surge. We have some amazing speakers. All four of the women that will be following me are elite coaches. They are absolutely amazing, and they have been so generous as to share their time, their energy, their best practices to ensure that you start your year off right and that you get the most out of your effort and that you achieve all your goals to lead and enjoy a healthy, more fulfilling life in the year 2017. So I'm just going to jump right into this. I will introduce the coaches that are going to come up after me. We have Kelly Hutcheson, Lindsey, Jess Dukes, and then my amazing, beautiful wife, Chelsea Pearson. Amazing content. You are going to want to take notes. So if you do not have your notebook and pen ready, go and scramble now. Get it. Be more prepared for next month's Surge call. It's just amazing, incredible content. I wanted to kick off just to share a little bit of what I call practicality and a little bit of motivation just to get things started before I hand things off to Kelly. I wanted to talk a little bit about success because that's what we're here for. You are committing your time tonight so that you can be more successful as a coach. You can be more successful with your business. You can be more successful with your own goals. And that's what we're here for. That's why you're on this call. That's why you're committing time to it. And we appreciate you being here. We want to deliver the most value that we possibly can. So I want to share two things about what your success is not. And then I will share one thing that your success is. And I hope that this will be a great way to kick it off and kind of lay the foundation for everything that you're going to hear tonight. So success is not about what you've done in the past. I think a lot of people will end up getting stuck in one of two places, either trying to ride out the work that they've done in the past. I know that I've been there. But it's not about what you've done in the past. I think one of the cool things about this business, about helping people, about Beachbody and multi-level marketing in general, Lindsey and Kelly and Jess and Chelsea, you probably always see them at the top of the leaderboards, whether it's Success Club or team volume or whatever the metric is that we're recognizing. You see that a lot. They're always at the top. But I will tell you that Jess and Lindsey and Kelly and Chelsea start every single month at 0. You're at the same exact place that they are. The work that they've done in the past, they can't just rely on that. We can't just rely on things that we've done in the past. It's about putting in work every single day. So I used to be at the top, and this is something Chelsea and I talked about earlier, and it's been really convicting. And the thing about the past is you have to learn from it. You can't live in it. If I want to be at the top of my game, if you want to be on the top of those leaderboards, you have to show up each and every day. And the four fantastic women that are going to follow me today are going to tell you exactly how to do that. They're going to share what they do to be successful, and it's up to you to implement it. The other thing that success is not about what you're going to do in the future. I know a lot of people, again, including myself, think about these crazy goals and these crazy dreams and all these things that we're going to do. And it's awesome to have dreams, and it's awesome to have crazy far out goals. But the fact of the matter is, you can't just wait for them to happen. You got to put the work in. You got to show up every single day, or you won't move. Your goals will stay just as far away as they are if you don't show up and work. What success is a culmination of both and executing today. So my question to you, and the question that you need to ask yourself, is how committed are you to your goals? We ask a lot of our coaches, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed to your goals are you actually? People say they want, people say they wish, People say, the one thing I laugh about, I would do anything to XYZ. Well, would you really do anything? Because you can do anything. It's just a matter of working. Maybe it's an extra half hour. Maybe it's an extra hour. Maybe it's doing work overnight, getting a little less sleep, being a little bit more efficient. Are you willing to do that? The question that I always like to ask people, and I think actually I stole this from Chelsea, is when you talk about your goals, do you need to raise your work ethic to align with your goals, or do you need to reduce your goals to align with your work ethic? And if you're saying that you need to reduce your goals, then I just want to challenge you tonight and to start off the year 2017 saying, you're better than that. You deserve better than that. You can do amazing things. There's some point in your life that you've done something that's been beyond what you thought that you could do. You've stretched yourself. You've grown. You've been successful in one way or another. And you can do that every single day. You just have to avoid complacency. You have to take note of everything that people say tonight and start thinking forward. Start saying, how am I going to apply this? How am I going to apply this? How am I going to manage my time better? How am I going to plan out my month? You know, what is the one thing that I can focus on this year that's going to inspire me and motivate me? What can I put into practice? What is my plan that I can execute on? And then you take those things tonight and you put them into action. And you put them into action every day. You know, there are people who I know who have been so successful in this business for a month and then they give up. Or for a week and then they give up. They work for Success Club 5 in the first week and then they stop. We've been there. We've had a rough month. We've slowed down. We've taken our foot off the gas. But I remind you that this is people's lives that we're talking about. We have the answer to obesity in one hand, and we have the answer to finance in the other. We have health and wealth that we can offer to all of these people. So when you stop and say, you know, I'm going to take my foot off the gas, I challenge you to instead say, there's one more person who needs my help. There's always one more person who needs your help. And I challenge you every single day for this entire year to be constantly seeking that one more person. If you can do that, you will see immense growth in your business. You will see amazing success in your challengers, and you will find yourself with the most amazing team that you could ever imagine. So I'm so excited to get this kicked off. I'm going to hand this over to Kelly. Kelly is going to talk to us today about time management, which is something that everybody struggles with. Kelly's an elite coach. She's from just down the state from me, down in Wellington. And we are so thrilled to have her tonight. So Kelly, I'm going to go hand it off to you so you can unmute, put your video on, and take it away.
Am I good? Thumbs up.
You are great.
That was seamless. Hello, everyone, Shred Nation, everyone else. I have a timer because I tend to ramble, and that is the first thing that I'm going to talk about is getting this timer. It's called the ADH timer. I used it in my classroom for kids who would get distracted, and I think I personally have undiagnosed ADD because I'm always like, what's this, what's this, what's this, what's this? But I've really taken the last 3.5 years, I've been a coach for 3.5 years, those are my papers, and I have made time management my total jam. Like I'm like a time management ninja. I used to be task oriented. Now I'm like obsessed with time with my kids, with my family, and I work really, really hard so I can have that and I'm not having a cluttered mind and I can be present. I can play games with them because this this is in my brain every single day that we have 940 Saturdays from the time that our kids are born to the time they go to college. So my mindset when I started Beachbody was like, wait a minute, I'm on this gerbil wheel that I cannot possibly, I couldn't breathe from the gerbil wheel of being working full time, 2 kids, a husband, a house, friends, I couldn't manage it all. So I saw Beachbody as a way to get off that wheel and to actually enjoy those 940 Saturdays because the Saturdays were filled with cleaning and chores and running from this to that to this. And we had no quality time. And we worked so hard after years and years of our infertility that I was like, you know what? If I can go all in, and I'm talking all in, I went like head down underwater, didn't come up for air all in, because I was so obsessed and addicted to helping other people feel the way that I felt. Because Jen K handed me the match and I took it and I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I can feel this way, because I was not feeling that way months prior. I could actually help people do that. I was a different mom. I was a different wife. I was a different person. I was like doing cartwheels in Publix. I couldn't believe the way that I felt. And it became my mission to help other people feel that way. And I could not stop, because it was almost like a guilt, a heaviness on my shoulder to go help the Kelly that I used to be. I was always thinking about that other girl, and I'm still always thinking about her. And that's what gets me up every single stinking honking day, and to go all in, because you don't solve time problems with more time. And I know that you think like, if I had more time, I could do this. You're actually more efficient when you have more things going on, because you're like, bah, 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 bah. When I was teaching, I was counseling, I was tutoring, I was working after school program, this before kids. I was doing all these things, and I was like Johnny on the spot. I was like, bump, 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 because I had a system and I was organized, and then once summer hits, I was like, I have all the time. My house fell apart. I couldn't get like out the door to exercise, because I didn't have a system and I didn't have a pattern. And so sometimes we think, if I had more time, then I would. But the point is that if you like the Darren Hardy comment says, you live a life like most people won't, so you can have a life like most people can't. And when you think about when you met your spouse or your significant other, or if you're with a boyfriend or girlfriend, think about when you met that person. You didn't have any extra time in your life, but somehow you found time because you were so in love with that person. You just wanted to spend every waking minute on the phone. Whatever it was, you just wanted to spend more time with that. And Beachbody's kind of like that. When you fall in love with Beachbody, you just want to be with Beachbody so much. And so you're going all in, but then all of a sudden everything around you goes black. And so my goal is to help you have some balance there. Because you do have to work really hard, but the payoff is time freedom with your family. And there is nothing more rewarding and nothing harder than being on the gerbil wheel. So whenever I get overwhelmed, I'm like, this is such perspective, because overwhelmed is being on the gerbil wheel and going and going and going and going. But if you know that this is short term and this won't last forever, you will be off that gerbil wheel and you will have time to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And for me, that is the most priceless gift that Beachbody's given to me. It's given to my husband, given to my kids, and I will pay it forward till I'm 99 years old, because I'm always thinking, I could go help that mom. I could go help that family. I could. And like Robb said, there's always one other person. There's another Kelly out there. It's not about Success Club. It's about finding who you used to be before Beachbody. It's about finding who I used to be before Beachbody. It's finding those people and helping them and matching their pace. And so you might hear me talk on my Facebook about the ULA life. And I am literally obsessed with the ULA life. If you go to ulalife.com, OOLA life.com, because when I started Beachbody, I was unbalanced. I was spending all my time with my boyfriend, my new boyfriend, Beachbody, that like everything else was falling apart. But I didn't have the balance of like doing it all. It's like spinning all these plates, and then I was like spinning Beachbody really well, but then these were falling apart. And so with the ULA life, you can go on there and you can take a quiz. And so you spend a season in that area that needs most of your attention. And then so these are spinning, these other plates, and then you spend a season, whether it's PD, whether it's time, whatever it is, you spend a season while this plate's spinning, then you're like, I'm gonna help this one. But this one has really good momentum that it's spinning on its own. So you can spend a season over in organization or in parenting or in your faith or in your field, whatever it is, because you have these other ones going. And so the ULA life is about the balance. But to have balance, you need to carve out time. So when I started Beachbody, of course, no one starts Beachbody. I was like, oh, I have an extra couple hours to dedicate. I have all this free time. No one has free time when they start Beachbody. But it's just like when you meet a new spouse, you find time, because if you focus on your why and you focus on the emotional fulfillment, then you will find the time. You will make the time. So The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod changed my ever-loving life, because when I started, I had the kids both home with me, and I didn't want to be on the computer all day long. So instead of carving into their time, I just carved into my sleep time, my TV time, those kinds of things, because that's what was least, it was the path of least resistance. So now I get up very, very early, even though my kids are in school now. This is 3.5 years later, they're in school. But because I live that life of waking up early, I used to stay up late, but then I just flipped it around. Now I just wake up very early. I go to bed about right now, and I get up very early. I do not log into social media until all of my stuff is done. And when I mean stuff, I mean filling myself up. Because when you're a coach, helper's fatigue is up here. But helper's fatigue is only up here if you don't put yourself first. So every single night before I go to bed, I log out all social media, I log out all email, texting, Voxer, all that stuff is shut down. Because it's time for me, it's time for David, it's time for the kids, it's all off, okay? Log out, log out, log out, log out. So then when you wake up, you don't get tempted to like log in and let me check this real quick. Let me check my backup. Nothing. Because what that does is it messes with your brain. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I'm in bed and I rub my husband's back and he's dead asleep, and I'm just like, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you. I just say thank you over him as I'm rubbing his back. He's asleep, he never even knows this. Then I go into the kids' room. They sleep separately, sometimes together. I go in their room and I just say the same thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm starting off my day with so much gratitude in my heart for just the people that are living in our house. Then I do it to myself and I go outside. Thank you, thank you. I just say thank you literally about 150 times. And that is so fulfilling when you notice nature and you notice the trees. It's so pitch black out. But that quiet time, I literally bounce out of bed because I know that is my time to carve to myself, to have time to connect with myself, to connect with my essence, to center myself, because whatever the day comes at me, I have put almost a bulletproof shield over myself, because nothing is going to pull out that energy that I am filling myself up. Then I do my meditation, I do my prayers, I do my workout. As I'm listening to Darren Daly, he's emailed me like 4 a.m. I get an email from him, so I'm listening to him. I'm literally brainwashing my brain like in a positive way to go straight to gratitude and straight to positivity. So think about that morning versus going to your email and someone had a coach cancellation and you're just like, oh, really? Oh my, I thought we had such a good bond. I can't believe that. And it just sucks the life right out of you. None of that happens because I spend the first 2 hours of my day and then PD is just going. Right now I'm listening to Gabby Bernstein, May Cause Miracles. I'm in a 52 books in 52 weeks. And I'm doing that, and I can listen to 2 hours of a book on point 1.25 by the time the kids wake up. Lily gets up at 6:35 on the dot. So I'm always working against the clock, because when I was building this, I was always against the clock, because either it was against Grady's nap, it was when he was in school from 9 to 12, 2 days a week. I was at Starbucks, like, so I was always working against the clock. So when they finally went to school, I was like, God, I'm going to have so much time. This is going to be so glorious. I don't even know. I'm going to become like, all our coaches are going to all hit, like, it's just going to be so easy now that they're in school. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. This was my why, and my why finally happened. This is going to be. But all of a sudden, it was like summer school when the kids were at home for summer, or when I got out for summer break, nothing got accomplished. It was the law of diminished returns, like Robb talks about. I had too much time. I wasn't efficient. I wasn't working against the clock. So I always have either my watch going, or I have this going, or I know that Lily's getting up at 6:35. So I know that I'm always working against the clock. So this is me. When I do get online, I'm very intentional about it. There's no surfing, there's no scrolling, there's none of that. I go into my groups, I check in, I get in, I'm very intentional, I see any updates, and I'm just very laser focused when I get in there, because you remember, I have a tendency to see the squirrels and be distracted and be brought down. But I filled myself up so much for those first 2 hours of my day that literally nothing can pop the bubble. And plenty of things try to pop the bubble, but everything is met with gratitude. Everything is met with thanks and gratitude. And when you do that, then you have perspective on everything, because you're just like, okay, when this thing comes at you, you flip it. So you're constantly flipping it to the positive, you're constantly flipping it to the gratitude. When I was building this, I didn't have a lot of time, so I treated my office hours like gold. Like I would drop off Grady and I would go to Starbucks and I would work and work. I worked at Starbucks for 18 months, and I don't mean with a green apron. I mean sitting at a coffee table, hammering out power hours, laser focused, working against the clock. This thing was always going in my head, and I would order my coffee and I would be like, can you bring it to me? Because I was just like, I was so laser focused. So I have that same mindset now. David would be like, when I was beginning, he'd be like, can you take the car for an oil change after you drop Grady off? And I was like, no, I'm working. Like, whatever your office hours are, you have to put ironclad office hours of fences around those office hours. It's not on the fly. It's not in the car line. It's not when you feel like it, because you will feel so inefficient and you'll feel like you're spinning your wheels with getting nothing done. Like, it's very hard to work in chunks of very small periods of time because you lose a lot of that flow. But when you have a long chunk of time, whether it's an hour, whether it's 2 hours, whatever it is, for me, when I was starting, it was 8 to 2 at night, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. because I was just like laser focused. I wanted this to happen faster. David calls me IGK for instant gratification, Kelly. I wanted it. I just was so desperate to have time with them. I didn't care what it took. If Jen told me to stand on the corner with my bikini with the sign that says, I would have done that. I would have done anything it took to get off that wheel. And I knew that any hard work I was putting in now was going to pay off a year from now. And I was having so much fun with my new boyfriend that I was like, this isn't work. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. So the same discipline you have with your day job, if you have one, you treat it like this. If you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. But if you treat it like a real job, like if I wanted to take off to go to the dentist when I was working in the schools, I filled out a leave form. I had to get it approved by the secretary. Then it went to the principal. He had to sign off on it. Then I got it back in my mailbox. It's okay for you to go to the dentist. And so I had that same mindset. I turned into Tim Ferguson. So I had that same mindset whenever I'm doing anything. I'm like, okay, would I do this if I was working at the schools? Would I turn in a leave form to take my dog to the vet? Probably not. But if I need to take my dog to the vet, I can make up that vet hours somewhere else. So now I'm like very mindful. I don't do anything of the dog vet stuff until I've done what I need to do, like I would in a regular job. So I told you about avoiding your inbox because your inbox is other people's agenda. Brenda Burchard taught me that. Social media, spread gratitude, log out. 30-Day Push is amazing. She's not doing that anymore, but it was an amazing book. So I highly recommend Shalene's book, 30-Day Push. Outsourcing. My first thing I outsourced was getting a cleaning lady. We don't have her anymore because we have time now to actually keep our house up. But before we didn't. So it was like, we're just going to do that. Upwork is great. Office hours. The time you put in now is going to pay off a year from now. And that's why most people quit, dabble, peter out, whatever it is, because they don't see the IGK. They don't see the fruits of their labor right now. And so they get impatient. They're like, this isn't working. It's just like weight loss. When the weight doesn't come off fast enough, people quit. They fall off. No, it's not working. It's not working. Or it's not working for me. So they stop. And when you stop all of that work, you are literally taking it and like putting it in a garbage can, and you are just throwing all that hard work away, all the momentum you built up. Because I have people now 3.5 years later who finally, they're like, you're still doing that Beachbody thing? Since you're doing it so long, you must really believe in it. And I kind of trust you now after 3.5 years of watching you show up every single stinking honking day. So now I'm going to finally trust you. And their lives are changed because of my consistency, because I am shining the light of consistency into their hearts. Because they don't trust themselves. They've been hurt before by the boyfriend Beachbody. So, when you go through relationships and maybe someone cheats on someone, then you're like, I can never get another relationship because that person cheated on me and it's too hurt. So they put a stone wall around their heart. That's the same thing with weight loss. Weight loss is very sensitive and very personal to the person. So they don't think that they can put themselves out there and get hurt again, because they know if they try something else, it's just going to be disappointed. So why am I going to set myself up for failure? So they put the wall up. They put the wall up. But when they see someone like you showing up day in and day out, no matter what, they're like, whoa, if she can do that. So all of a sudden, that light of consistency, you're shining onto somebody else. And so that is the gift that you're giving to someone else when you're showing up. You're showing up for yourself, but you're showing up for all those other people who are watching you. But when you stop, when you quit, when you dabble, when you peter out, it happens. I see it. It breaks my heart because I'm like, oh, all that work, what are you doing? But I just have to keep in the lighthouse. I can't drag, I can't pull. I just have to show you and everybody that it shows up with that consistency, showing up no matter what, and finding the joy in this. Because when you find the joy in it, it really doesn't feel like work. It really feels very joyful to give and give and give. Because you have to think of your life as like you are Saturn, okay? Saturn is you, and you have this rings of support around you. And when you take care of Saturn, then all of a sudden it ripples into the first ring. And your first ring, Usually it's the people who live in your four walls. Those people, they're not draining you because you're filled up. So you're just emitting this light and this energy to your first ring. And then guess what? They light up and they shoot it back to you. So it's this reciprocal thing, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, in your four walls, in your four walls. And then you have enough energy, they have enough energy, and then they ripple out to your second line. And that's maybe the people that grew up in your house in your four walls, and that's another circle, or the people that are like family. And so the rings of love and the rings of support get further out and further out. But in the middle, you are the nucleus, you are the Saturn. And when you take care of Saturn by waking up early, giving up TV, giving up Facebook scrolling, giving up gossiping, giving up, the things that are not filling Saturn, then you reverberate that energy to your first ring, and then they reverberate back to you, and it's like this reciprocal awesomeness that you feel of connection and vulnerability and amazingness, and then it just keeps sprinkling out. And then out here, when stuff happens, guess what? You're okay, because Saturn's okay, your four walls are okay, and that's when you're able to have your blinders on. So I just want to encourage you to read two books, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod and The 30-Day Push, because when you are organized, you will feel more in alignment. You won't feel all over the map. You won't feel like you're running from this to that. This is my to-do list. I print this out for 4 weeks. I print 4 of them for the whole month. This is last week, okay? Look, I keep these in my office. This feels so rewarding. I get a shot of dopamine every time I take my marker. Monday is red, Tuesday is orange, Thursday, Wednesday, I do the colors of the rainbow because rainbows make me happy. So this is my to-do list. It's the same thing every single stinking honking day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, a bulk of my work. Then Tuesday, Thursday is kind of catch up. Sunday and Saturday, more family time, a little bit of catch up, but mostly reserved for family time. This is my to-do list. It's recurring events. Every Monday I do the same thing. Every Tuesday I do the same thing. So guess what? I rip it off for the next week. Same thing. This was today. So if I finish something for today, I might pop into tomorrow and do something a little bit ahead of schedule. And then guess what? I start the day with all this dopamine, all this momentum, all this energy of like, I can win this day. And every single day, I'm not trying to win other people's day. I'm trying to win my day by starting off taking care of Saturn and the rings and rings and rings and rings. But when you take care of Saturn, these rings out here don't affect you and pull you down and drag you and pop your bubble, okay? So I hope that helped. If it did, I will post below the 7 areas of ULA. I've done a video about this. I am having people mail me their goals for the 2017, and I'm mailing them back to them at the end of 2017 to see. And you don't have to be goal-oriented. You have to focus on the tasks that are going to lead you to the goals. Because goals are great. I love them. But if you don't focus on the tasks and reverse engineer how you're going to get there, then the goals are just going to like hang out there, and that'd be great. Lily's trying to get a certain amount of points for reading counts. She wants to get it. Let's reverse engineer. We have this many days until you're at the end of this trimester. How many pages do you need to read? How many books do you need to read? What kind of levels do you need to read? Let's reverse engineer this so it can empower her and teach her how to reverse engineer goals. I hope this helped. We're going to listen to Lindsey next, who's going to talk about having a power word, because those rings of Saturn are going to try to bring you down. But when you have a power word, and that's Saturn, it will always, always keep you going. I love you guys. Thanks for showing up. Keep showing up. There's so many people that need our help. The list is endless. Just keep rippling. I love you guys.
Can you guys hear me? You can't see me. Can you see me? Okay, perfect. Wonderful. So I am Lindsey, and I have been a coach for 4 years. I would say that I am probably what you call an OG Shred Nation member. I've been around from the beginning, and I just wanted to share a little bit about some of the stats that I have, and they are not to brag. I promise I have a point with them. So I started coaching 4 years ago. I hit diamond in 3 weeks. I hit 2-star diamond in 6 months, and I am a 47 months straight all-star legend. Hit premier my first full year of coaching, and elite every year following, except for this year. Elite was definitely a goal that I had set, and the first quarter of the year, it actually looked like it was going to happen. I was had the momentum going forward. I had the coaches in place that were working towards that goal with me. And my personal business was booming. In fact, I am an insanely driven person, and I'm very determined. So if I set a goal, I don't stop till I finish. And when it came down to the end of this year, that goal did not happen for me. And I was disappointed. To be honest, I felt like a failure. I totally questioned my leadership abilities. The entire month of December, knowing that I was kind of letting that goal go because it was looking like it wasn't going to happen for me, I was terrified. I was fearful of what this meant for our team. I was terrified of what this meant for my future coaches. I was terrified that where I was headed was kind of a downward spiral. I spent a lot of late nights talking to Jeremy, crying, talking to my girlfriends that know nothing about Beachbody about how devastated that I was that I missed this goal. I actually knew that it was coming, even with some last-ditch efforts, but I still was insanely disappointed. And it wasn't until Jeremy at the beginning of this month said, "Have you started praying about the word for the year?" And the word for the year is something that I shared with my team, and I really want to share with you guys because it's going to be a challenge I'm going to give to you. But we choose just one word, and it's kind of that, it's intended to be that trajectory for the year to come. So the things that we are going to be so intentional with. And last year, my word for the year was brave. And I laughed at that because I thought, there were a lot of things that I was so fearful of that I know that I wasn't brave. And I could see moments where I did take on that brave title, but I didn't spend every single one of my days with that word at my focus. And so I didn't feel very brave coming into the new year. And I started to pray for what that word was going to be for me as an individual. Jeremy prays for his own word. And so I'll let him share that publicly when he's ready. But for me, I had a word that came that was something that I knew I needed to be, and that was fearless. As a leader of an organization that has over 2,000 coaches, I knew that I had to share this disappointment with them because you're going to miss goals all the time. My coaches are going to set a goal and they're going to miss it. You might set a weight loss goal and you might miss it. And so I want to help as a leader, help you guys start to cultivate that within your own life so that when you do have some of those things, you can go, that's okay, because I'm still successful because of this. Your success cannot lie with your works. Your success does not come from a rank or how many times you hit elite. Your success comes from living with intention and purpose and feeling successful in spite of what you might miss out on. Because in this business, sometimes your goals have nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with your team. And you have to know how to own those disappointments and share them when those kind of rise up. So that's when I knew, you know what, when I need to share this with my team, even though I'm fearful, because I'm not going to play the blame game of why we missed elite for the third year in a row, or not missed it, but not hit elite to be a 3-time elite team. I knew, okay, I got to get beyond my fear. And to be honest with you guys, I have the tendency to live with an anxious spirit, and I wake up some mornings and feel that anxiety. And so I am definitely going to be taking Kelly's, notes on, I got to set myself up for success and checking just checking Facebook messages and email is definitely not going to set me up. So those were amazing tips from Kelly. But here's my challenge to you guys. In the next week, I want you guys to find a quiet place. I want you to kind of be able to sit and meditate. Whether you are a spiritual person or not, you can pray, or you can just sit in a quiet space and think about where you want to set your intentions for this year. Ask yourself the question, what kind of person do I want to be this year? Not what kind of coach do I want to be and what kind of mom do I want to, what kind of woman, what kind of man do I want to be this year? What does that look like? What do I want my business to look like? What kind of coach do I want to be? All of those things, as you start to think, what could my one word be? If I finish this year knowing that I conquered that, that's going to be success to me. So for me, looking at what it means to be fearless, I have a lot of work to do. And I know I have a lot of a focused intention time. I will not be fearless for the client that comes to me that says I have 100 pounds to lose, because in the past that would hit me with fear. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to help somebody lose 100 pounds. I've never been there. I don't know how to do it. I might run. I'm not going to run. I'm going to face it and go, you know what? I do have the tools that's going to help you lose 100 pounds. Link arms, baby. Let's do this. I will not fear that. I will be fearless as a mom, which means I'm not going to stick my head in the sand and pretend that everything is all right and beautiful. I ran away from a diagnosis that just occurred this last couple of months for my son. I ran from that for over 10 years. But you know what? That's because of fear. So I will fearlessly head on being a mama bear to my kids. I will continue to set big goals, not because I'm not going to fear missing out on those big goals. I will continue to set big goals, even though I'm coming from a place of, man, are you sure? Because setting big goals can be kind of disappointing. I'm not going to fear those things. I'm going to set them for my team anyways. And I'm going to link arms with the coaches that, not like Kelly said, I'm not going to be dragging or pulling anybody or begging anyone to work their own business. I'm going to be fearless in the pursuit to look for people that want to do this with me, that say, I know that we have tools to change people's lives. I believe that in my gut. I'm with you. That's who I'm looking to work and link arms with. And even if I miss my goal, I know if I pursue being fearless, I will be so successful come the end when I'm looking at how was I 2017. So I challenge you, when you come up with your word, I challenge you to add fearless in your pursuit of that word. Some of my teammates have followed suit, and it's been a really, really neat thing to see all of them posting their word for the year with a picture of themselves and the word attached to it. And some of them have come with words like honor. They want to honor their marriage. They want to honor their promises that they made to their spouse. And that's going to take a lot of fearless work, intentional, determined, consistent, passionate, consistently fearless, purposeful, present. Those are just a few. Our team page is going crazy with everyone's words for the year. And so I want you to be fearless about what other people think about. I want you to walk out your word. Be fearless about the way that you pursue that word this year. Be fearless in your pursuit for your business. Be fearless in pursuit of your health goals. I love the quote, and it's kind of rising up again in some of my newer coaches because they have that fear of all of the opinions of people that go, what are you doing? What is that? What is that? Why are you posting pictures like that? And they don't understand what it is that we do. And the quote, it says, "I used to care a lot about what you thought about me until I tried to pay my bills with your opinion." And I laugh at that because truthfully, this business does have an amazing financial reward if you stick it out long enough. Like Kelly said, most people quit long before they quit their consistent pursuit, long before they ever see the success. And I will tell you that is so true. What you did the last couple of months will be kind of where your business is at for the next few months. And so I always tell my coaches, if you've got that momentum, keep it alive. And be fearless in pursuit of what you want for your family, whether it's finances, whether you've got bills to pay off, or if you've got a health goal that you're pursuing and you don't have a spouse or a partner that's very supportive of that. Be fearless in pursuit and go, no, you know what, this is what I'm pursuing. I'm pursuing this for me. Nobody else can give you that word, and no one's going to take away your intentions on building that word for yourself and acting as if this is it. This is what success looks like to me this year. I want you to be fearless about what those potential, going into what those potential coaches and those future clients might say. Yeah, they might say no to you, but you know what? You have to believe in what we have. And I will tell you that every coach that is speaking to you tonight, yes, we are elite coaches. Yes, we have that badge of honor, but you know what? Every single person is somebody that never quit. They never quit believing that our products worked for them. They never quit believing that they could see the same success as so-and-so and so-and-so. They never stopped pursuing those things because we didn't care about the no, because we knew that it was one more closer to yes. And I remember having to learn that lesson and crying to Jeremy. I cry often. I don't think I was meant for this kind of rejection. And I remember talking with Robb about it, and it was so true. You're just, that person's just not ready yet, and you're just, that person, that's a no, but maybe the next one's a yes. I never stopped. So be fearless in pursuit of what you have. Don't doubt that you don't have amazing accountability for them. Don't doubt your abilities to coach people. Don't doubt your ability to share your lives with people and be that biggest fan in their corner when they don't have anybody. Don't doubt what you have. And that leads me to my third point in a fear that I know so many of you have. And that is the fear that you are not enough. If it's the one thing that I've learned with Beachbody over my 4 years, is that I was enough from the very beginning. It didn't take six-pack abs for me to be enough to help that person that I wanted to help when I started. You are enough. And I remember Shayna, Chelsea's coach, on a webinar when I first started. I think I had been coaching for 2 months. And I remember literally her like getting up like this in the camera and saying, "You are enough. You are enough. You're enough." And I want you guys to know that I want to be that for you. I want you to know that you are enough. The person that you are today is enough to help that person that's struggling, because you have a team behind you that is 7,000 strong. You are a part of a tribe of people that are normal people helping normal people achieve extraordinary results and extraordinary things. We started just like you. And I want you to know that if anything, over the finances, over the fact that I got to build this home, more than anything, more than any recognition, more than any elite badge that I wear, the confidence that I have gained as a coach because I pursued it, because I fearlessly, I went kind of reckless and knowing, because Shayna told me, you know what, Lindsey, you're enough. And so I want you to know tonight that you are enough. So as you start to pursue your goals in 2017, and as fear starts to creep in, doubt starts to show up, remember that you are enough to hit the things that you want to do this year if you're consistent. So come up with that word that is going to speak to your soul, because come the end of 2017, I want you to look back at your year and say, you know what? I was successful. And it's not because of anything I accomplished. It's because I wanted to be a fearless person. I wanted to be a consistent person. I wanted to be present this year. And you worked every day intentionally to live out that word for yourself. And so I challenge you to find that word. You can post it on your wall and share it. You can post it in your team page. Get it going with your clients. Get it going with the people that you care about, and let this fire explode, because I'm telling you, it's been so inspiring to watch my coaches in our team page go crazy with that word of the year. And I will tell you, I know that I'm going to be fearless in what I pursue this year. And I know that at the end of 2017, when I'm thinking about my word for 2018, I'm going to look back and go, you know what, Linz, you were fearless this year. And it had nothing to do with what I accomplished. It's everything that I lived with intention. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you guys, share my heart, preach at you a little bit, but just know Jess Dukes is coming up next, and you're going to hear some amazing tips and tools. And just remember, you see Jess Dukes at the top of every single leaderboard that there is. And yes, she's an amazing rock star and a dynamic speaker and an incredible coach, but she is just like you. And so take notes and get ready to learn a whole lot from her, because I know I do. So thanks a lot, you guys.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that introduction, Lindsey. So happy New Year, everyone. I'm so excited to hang out with you guys tonight, and I can't wait to chat with you. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jess Dukes, and I am the leader and the founder of Fearlessly Fit. I have been coaching for a little over 3 years, and I found my coach, Lacey Nelson, on Instagram of all places, complete stranger to me. Like many of you probably, I was on my fitness journey, and I found myself at 215 pounds, and I started on a journey to lose it myself. So I found Lacey about a year into my journey. I'd lost a little bit of weight, and if any of you guys have lost weight, you guys know how good you feel when you lose weight. And so people started coming to me, asking me what I was doing. I was sharing my journey on a blog, on Instagram, a little on Facebook too, kind of anonymously though, because I was a little embarrassed. But I was giving out free advice. And so when I heard Lacey's opportunity to join her team and to actually get real tools I could give people, I jumped all over it. No longer would I have to rely on my own, not probably great advice. I could actually give people real tools. I could give them a real meal plan, real workouts that they could do from home, and obviously Shakeology as well. And on top of that, I was going to get great training on how to actually help people and how to run challenge groups. And I loved that. And I was a month away from my wedding, so any extra money too was great. But I really had no idea what this was going to turn into, but I was excited about it. I just wanted to help people, so I joined. And during my very first month of coaching, I got married. During my very second month of coaching, I got pregnant. And a lot of people might have used these things as excuses to quit. But to me, this turned my drive on overdrive. My why instantly quadrupled. I wanted to help people. I wanted that. But now I had a bigger why. I had this little baby growing inside of me, and I, at the time, my reality was going to a job I didn't like every day. I worked as a senior financial analyst, and I had a 90-minute commute to work, a 90-minute commute home from work, and it wasn't rare for me to cry on the way to work. Sometimes I literally could internally feel myself kicking and screaming. I remember every day pulling into that parking garage, and it's just it took every inch of me to actually continue to press the gas pedal to drive into that garage and get myself to work, because I wanted to turn around and run home as quick as I could. And can't even also tell you how many times I cried on the way to work, and then also like on my lunch break, going down in the parking garage and literally sitting in my car sobbing because I couldn't even bear the thought of going back up to the 18th floor to work the last 4 hours of my day. Like, it just seemed so simple, but to me it was heartbreaking. And then I would go home from work, I would cry to my husband on the phone, and I was miserable. I was mean to my husband. I was mean to my family. I was mean to everyone because I was mad. And why? I just never pictured my life like this. You know, we all grow up, and I don't know about you, but I always couldn't wait to grow up because you just picture your life, you know, marrying Prince Charming and getting that house with the white picket fence. I just never pictured my life working at a job I hated and spending my days there. You know, you don't realize, like, we go to school, we get our degrees to like work, and we work a lot. And to spend my days working somewhere I didn't like, it was just like, this is not what I envisioned growing up to be like. I just pictured so much more. Like, I had dreamed of a different life for myself. And I don't know if you guys know who Eric Thomas is, but there's this motivational video called How Bad Do You Want It? And my coaches see me posting about it all the time, but I listen to him every day during my workout. He motivates me, he pumps me up like crazy. And he's got this one that's called How Bad Do You Want It? And he says, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that is when you'll be successful. And honestly, I had never really felt that until this very moment. I had drive, I wanted this, but I never knew how bad. And my coaches, and you guys maybe have seen this picture, but it's a picture of my son and I. And it's the very first picture I have of us two. Maybe not the first one, but a professional one. And the photographer came in and snapped this picture. It was the morning after he was born, just me and him in the room. And I just couldn't take my eyes off him. And as much as it should have been this really joyous moment for me, it was terror, because I knew that 12 weeks from this day, I was going to have to pass him off to someone else and let someone else watch my child while I go back to work. And if you're a working mom, it's great, you know. I just had never envisioned being a working mom, and not only a working mom, but a working mom that hated her job. And it killed me to look at him and know that I was going to have to kiss him goodbye and to go back to work and to spend my days away from him and have someone else raise my kid, only to come home and do dinner, bath time, and bed. And then for what? Like, that wasn't what I wanted to be like as a mom. And they say, you know, so many people say they want to be successful. So many people say that they would do anything to have a successful business. They do anything to not have to go to work. They do anything to stay home with their kids. But would you really? Would you? To me, I was willing to do anything. I don't care what I had to do to be home with this little boy of mine. Name it, I'll do it. And, you know, you realize, like, I've got Beachbody sitting right in front of me. That's my opportunity. And so many people would rather, like, they're not willing to give up sleep. They're not willing to give up anything, and they'd rather just complain. I refuse to complain about not getting to see my kid. I will work my ass off to be home with my children. Why would I waste my time complaining? This little baby needs me, and he's worth putting some work in to get home to be with him, so I can eat breakfast with him, so I can tuck him into bed, so I can be there kissing him when he wakes up, and that he's not seeing someone else's face in the morning when he wakes up for the day. I want to be that face. I will always be that face for him. And so I got to work. I hustled. I knew I didn't have a lot of time. I had this newborn. Anyone who's had a newborn, you know that's a full-time job in itself. Plus your lack of sleep, you're tired. It's exhausting. And I also was working full-time with a long commute, you know, but my will to succeed was greater than anything else in the world. And so I started getting up at 3 a.m. And before anyone says, I could never do that, yeah, I said that too. No one wants to get up at 3 a.m. Come on, wouldn't we all love to sleep till 11 a.m. if we could? That's just not real. Like, that's not gonna get me anywhere. So I got up at 3 a.m. and I started my day with the vital behaviors. Second I woke up, I had my stuff ready before I went to bed. And when I got up in the morning, I was chugging my Energize. And if anyone drinks Energize, you know it takes a few minutes to kick in. So I got out my personal development, and I plugged away 15 minutes of personal development while I was chugging my Energize. And by 3:15, hammer and chisel or whatever program it was being played, and I got to work. By 4 o'clock, I'm in the shower. By 4:45, I'm done. My mother-in-law came over to watch my son at 6 o'clock. So I knew I had an hour and 15 minutes. It's not a lot of time to be like a CEO of a business, you know. I got to get to work. I had to make sure that when I sat down to work, my time was planned. I didn't have time to go, man, what should I work on today? I had to get to work right away. And so I plugged away, and I had this huge opportunity in front of me to turn my dreams into a reality. And I made sure I didn't waste any time. And I'm excited to say that as of May of this year, I was able to accomplish that. And I am now a stay-at-home mom boss of not one, but 2 little boys, because I had my second little boy 7 weeks ago. Setting a goal like this of getting to stay at home requires planning. I couldn't just like set the goal and walk away. I had to plan for this goal. And your goals might be different than mine. You may never want to stay at home, and that's okay. But any big goal you have, you got to plan for it, because they always say a goal without a plan is just a wish. And I refuse to wish to be successful. I refuse to wish to be home with my kids. I will do whatever it takes. And hopefully your goals are big enough that you are willing to also say, I will do whatever it takes, and that you're not just going to wish that they happen. And, you know, I bet a lot of you guys on this call work full time. And just like, you know, I know when I worked full time, I had a schedule. I had a certain amount of time. Like I had to be at work at a certain time. I left at a certain time. My lunch was at a certain time. I had specific meetings I had to attend. There was work I had to do and prepare before the meeting. So I knew when I had to get the work done. I had, you know, deadlines with my boss, and my boss wasn't flexible on those deadlines. It had to be done. So I had to prepare and make sure I was getting my work done at a reasonable time to get it done to turn into my boss. And, you know, we live our full-time real jobs by a schedule with a plan. Why don't we do the same thing for our own businesses? Why don't we make the same type of schedule? Why don't we make the same kind of plan for our own business when we are getting the results ourselves and we're not working for someone else? So when it came to quitting my job, I had to start planning. I needed a schedule. So when I woke up at 3 a.m., I wasn't dinking around going, oh, I wonder what I should do today. I had a plan so I could get straight to work. So every single second of that hour and 15 minutes in the morning was spent working my business. And it wasn't spent scrolling Facebook or wondering what I should do. I got to work, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. And I had to like kind of backtrack from this goal. You know, if I wanted to be home with my kids, you know, how much money would I need to earn? How many challengers would I need a month? How many challenge groups would I have to run every single month to like house these challengers and to take care of them? And building my team, man, how many coaches did I need to be recruiting every month? And how was I going to recruit them? What was I going to post on social media? You see, it's not just about setting this goal. You have to actually plan for these things. So I want to like really ask you, what do you want to accomplish this year? What's your big goal? And I want you to really think about what you're going to have to do in order to accomplish this goal. For me, it was, I had to be hitting Success Club. I had to be recruiting coaches. I had to be running, you know, free groups in order to network and expand my business. I needed to be running challenge groups for those challengers to make sure I'm taking care of them so that the people that came to me weren't out going, man, my coach sucks, I need to transfer. You know, that they came to me and they stuck with me, and that eventually they'd want to coach on my team. And also running live coaching previews so I could grow my business. So I created this little calendar for you guys. I don't know if anyone can see it on here, but I'll at least tell you about it. My very first goal every single month that goes on my calendar is Success Club. And I don't make this a goal because I want to be #1 on the leaderboards, as much as I do love that. And it's a huge motivator for me, but that's not what Success Club's about. Success Club to me represents helping new people. If I'm not hitting Success Club, it means I haven't brought any new business in. And if I want my business to grow, I need new business. I need to help new people, as well as all my regular people that I have, my old challengers, my old coaches. I gotta always help them, but I also need to make sure I'm helping new people out every single month too. So my goal is always Success Club 5 by the 5th and 10 by the 10th. And I'm not saying you need to have that goal for yourself, but that's just my personal goal. Whatever your goal is, give yourself a date so you know what you're working with. For me, I want to hit Success Club right off the bat because I don't want to be a coach on the 30th of the month going, crap, I'm only at Success Club 2. What was I doing all month? I want to start my month off strong so then I can strategically do the rest of things. And I never want to feel desperate at the end of the month either. The second thing I want you to think of, when are your challenge groups going to be? Do not be a coach that goes, hey, I have a challenger. Does anyone have a group? When I see that in all our team pages, I know instantly that person did not have a plan. They had no plan of running a challenge group until they got a challenger. Be the opposite kind of coach where you have a challenge group. That's basically, you're having a challenge group. That's saying like you're open for business, like your open sign is on. If you're doing the opposite, like you have no place for someone. So even if you get a challenger, you don't know what you're going to do with them. So be a coach that has somewhere to put their people when they're ready. So I run a challenge group on the very first Monday of the month. I've ran my business like that from day one for all 3 years. It just works out. And maybe you're different. Maybe you have the third week of the month or the second week, whatever. Get a plan. Make it consistent though. That way your challengers know what to expect from you. So you can see on my calendar for February, I have my challenge group starting on February 6th. So that way, I know exactly when I need to start recruiting for it and to invite for it. I know exactly when I need to get my cover photos done. I like to do cover photos on my page so people know about my groups. I know when I need to like update my challenge group application. I know when I need to start scheduling it in the challenge tracker app. I know when I need to do these things. So that way, my time is spent efficiently. I also start inviting to my challenge groups on the 1st of every month. So when January 1st rolled around, I was no longer talking Health Bet. I'm no longer talking Rock Your Resolution Challenge Group that I'm hosting, starting today. I'm talking about February Love Your Body Challenge Group because I'm a month ahead. That way I can spend my entire month inviting, rather than just giving myself little 2 days before a challenge group starts or anything like that. I want to give myself an entire month. I want to maximize my opportunity to hit Success Club and not just leave it to chance to do a week ahead of time. And plus, always remember that, for anyone who has a house, we know when our mortgage payment's coming. We know when these big expenses are coming, so we can plan for it. Challengers might need the same heads up. They might need to talk to their husbands for making a big purchase. They might need to wait for their paycheck. And if someone knows that, hey, on February 6th, Jess is running a challenge group, they've got all month to figure out how they're going to get that $199 to join me with the Beachbody On Demand All Access Challenge Pack, rather than announcing it on maybe January 15th, where they only have a week or two left. So give your challengers the max amount of time of heads up. And then also, if you know when all your challenge groups are starting, maybe this month's a bad month for them. Maybe they're going on vacation. Maybe they, it's just work is really busy. They know they can't commit. You can know, hey, well, this date on this month is when my next one starts. You want me to follow up with you and have you join then? Sure. If you plan in advance, you're giving your challengers great expectation of what they can expect from you. And since my plan is always Success Club 10 by the 10th, you guys can see that I have a live coaching preview on the 16th. So the third Thursday of every month, I host a live coaching preview with my team. So not only does that allow me to spend the first 2 weeks of the month talking about my challenge group, it gives it, if I hit Success Club 10 by the 10th, Success Club is taken care of. I've got my new challengers for my group, and now I can talk about my live coaching preview without it overlapping on my recruiting for my challenge group. And so I give myself all 4 days leading up and the day of the live coaching preview to talk about it. So that means, okay, if I'm going to start inviting to my live coaching preview on the 12th, I need to make sure if I'm going to do an ad for it on Facebook, that's set up. I need to make sure maybe my event is set up, get the live coaching preview already done in advance, schedule the posts out there, make sure I know who's going to be hosting it with me. I know what to do in advance. And then if you're going to do maybe a free group, you can also know when to place that in your month so it's not taking away from your live preview or your challenge group. And maybe put it, a great time to do it would be maybe after your live preview. That way, it's before the next month, so you can get some maybe new contacts and start building some trust with some people, so that maybe they'll be interested in joining you the following month for your challenge group. I also have my final push on here for my challenge group. My last day to order for a challenge group is always the Friday before prep week starts. And prep week's always the last Monday of the month. So I know that February 24th, for example, is going to be the last day to order for my March group. So that means the last 3 days here, or these 3 days, I can then follow up with anyone who maybe said they were interested that didn't say yes or hasn't said no to me. And I can follow up and say, hey, were you still interested in joining my group? I've got a spot for you. I'd love for you to join me. Rather than just winging it and having people maybe doing follow-ups during prep week when they wouldn't even have their package in time to join you. And I also have my Challenger check-ins on here. Challenger check-ins for my business happen on Monday mornings. Monday morning at 6 a.m., my new challengers in my current challenge group get a message from me in their inbox. It's already scheduled in advance. So my business just flows like that because I work on a schedule. And so I really want to encourage you guys to pull out your planner and really start planning your business out. When you can plan in advance, you give yourself maximum opportunity to be successful. Your challengers know what to expect from you. Your coaches know what to expect from you. You can make a schedule for yourself so that way your family will know what to expect from you too. And you can create working hours that work best for you so you can get everything done. I hear so many people say they give up all this stuff in order to coach, and don't get me wrong, I have sacrificed a lot of sleep, some TV time, some of that stuff. But I think if you work smart and you plan out your time properly and make sure that when you do have these hour nuggets of time to get some work done, it's efficient and you're not scrolling Facebook wondering what you should be doing. You can actually list out the tasks you need to be doing and make sure they're in your planner. So when your power hour comes along or you have a nugget of a lunch break, maybe you can get this work done. I still make time for my family. I still make time to play Legos with my son. I will be watching The Bachelor after this because I've made sure that my time has been spent efficiently. So I am not taking away from those other things in my life in order to make time for coaching. And then you can create a schedule that works around your life and works best for you. And we're all in the new year here. We're setting big goals for ourselves. And I just really want to encourage you to make sure that your goals, you're willing to work for them and that you are willing to spend the next 365 days setting a plan and then executing and committing to executing that plan so your goals actually happen and that we're not just wishing for things. Like I mentioned earlier, a goal without a plan is just a wish. I don't know anyone who joined Beachbody wishing they would get fit, wishing they would help people, wishing they would stay at home with their kids. I don't want to wish for these things. I want to make them happen. So I got to make sure I have a plan in place to make these things happen for myself. And I know a lot of you guys work full time and maybe think like, oh, well, you have all this time. You work at home. Like I didn't always have this time. A lot of us on this call didn't always have this time. We all have worked full time while coaching at some point. And it's hard. Trust me, I get it. I spent 2.5 years in corporate America while working this business. But if you can take advantage of the time that you do have and make it efficient and make a schedule for yourself that works for you, so you always know what to expect and you're not like just rushing behind things and like throwing things together, your business is going to be so much more successful. And I just want to remind you, we all, for our fitness goals, we all pick a start date, we pick a program, we do meal prep, we plan in advance for those things. So we should do the same thing for our business. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I know I don't want to enter this business and spend time working and be planning to fail. I want to be successful. And I want to be successful as bad as I want to breathe because I've got these beautiful kids that need their mommy at home. They need me to eat breakfast with them. They need me to wake them up in the morning. And just as much as they need me, I need them too. And I will do whatever it takes to always make sure I'm able to stay home with them. And if that requires making a plan and doing things like that, I will do it. So that's all I have for you guys. I just really encourage you guys to go out and get a planner and start planning your month out. And if you do plan your month out, make sure you are sticking to it and you're not just winging life and winging this business, and have a plan. That way you can make sure you are being successful. So I'm going to pass it on over to Chelsea now, and she has some really awesome content for us.
Jess, oh my gosh, guys. So I am in awe. I am in awe right now at every single one of these presenters, and they are all coaches who I admire for so many different reasons. There's one thing that I've learned in this business, and actually was calculating it as I was hearing Kelly and Jess and Lindsey talk about how long they've been coaching. I'm like, wait, you've been coaching for that long? I signed up in August of 2011, and I didn't start my business until January of 2012, which means that I have been coaching for 5 years. And what I'll tell you is that to this day, I mean, listening to Jess talk, I'm saying to myself that that's an area where I struggle. I struggle so much with structure and organization. And I'm going to go back and listen to what she talked about, because success leaves clues. I want a personal business like hers. It's about being teachable. It's about watching this recording and then going back and with a fine-tooth comb, finding an action item that I can apply right away. I don't have to apply it all. You don't have to apply it all. But it's about finding one thing that someone who has a schedule, balance, priorities, success, a paycheck, a team, a challenge group, a social media following that you admire, and finding that tip and implementing it into your life. So I'm just like totally blown away, and I'm going to be making a ton of tweaks to my month because what Jess shared was just so incredible and made so much sense. My brain doesn't really work that way. So she gave me a perfect segue because I have created, so this is what I like to spend my time on, not structure, on creation. And it can be an Achilles heel at times, but there was no better time than the new year to create some printables for you guys that you can all access on coachprepschool.com. On the top menu bar, it says printables, and all of these PDFs and printables that I'm going to share with you guys are accessible there on Google Drive, both in the full set but also in individual sheets, so that you can print out as many copies as you'd like, incorporate what you'd like into planning your month. So what I don't have the time to go through every single one of these, and I absolutely will in a video at a later date, but what I want to share with you guys is something called the 24/7 planner. And so what this has 24 rows, and it has 7 or 8 columns rather. So you get to write out the time of day, much like Kelly's color-coded sheet that she had shared, but also with every single day of the week. So what this is right here, this is every single hour of every single day of one whole week of your life. Now, this is what I challenge you to do, because I'm going to do it. I can't wait to see what you find out about yourself. I'm so excited to figure out what this reveals about me and my habits and my productivity and my time management. You are not going to fill this out proactively. I challenge you to fill this out as you go. So what this is going to require you to do is to I would say, if it doesn't drive you crazy, if you're really committed to taking a cold, hard look at what you are doing and what's getting in the way of you having the time to build your business, this is going to be very telling. But if you want to be successful, you got to take a cold, hard look at reality and look at where you're spending your time and write out what you've done for the previous hour. So you're going to fill in when you sleep. You're going to fill in each box if you spent an hour scrolling, if you're watching Netflix for 6 hours. I started it today, and honestly, I was shocked at how distracted, like Kelly had shared, and unproductive I was, and how unintentional I was with my time, even knowing all of this stuff. And even in one afternoon, one day, you're going to start to see that you have so much time that you could be spending on your business. You're just not aware of it yet. So this is a great personal social experiment. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it and what you find out. I'm going to share my findings, but I challenge you to fill out an entire week of your life. And this is going to clearly share with you guys where are the pockets of unproductive time. When I started off as a coach, I was making $15 an hour as an intern at a Fortune 200 company, and my vision for myself was to build a corporate career. But I knew that I couldn't pay off the $5,000 of credit card debt that I had and the $80,000 of student loan debt that I had with a $15 an hour intern's salary. And that's how I made that shift after signing up just to be a coach, to be a part of the fitness community and have some accountability. That's what flipped the switch in January of 2012. I have credit card debt. I have interest that is compounding and growing. I have all of this debt and this stuff hanging over me, and I don't have the means to pay it off. And so this felt like a way for me to get out of that debt. And at that time, what I thought the most valuable resource was money, because I didn't have any. And it was stopping me from living the life that I wanted to live and feeling the peace of mind that I wanted to have. Financial independence is something that was super important to me at 21. I saw what it could be after just a few years of being out of control. And what I learned is that money is not the most valuable resource. Time is the most valuable resource. When you spend 6 hours on Netflix, you're trading 6 hours of your life for that. And when we make $10 an hour, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, $50 an hour, when we make a certain salary in our job, it's very easy to equate an hour of your time to a certain dollar amount. With Beachbody, it's very different, and it's been talked about earlier on this call that what you do today in this business, in the network marketing MLM compensation structure, reflects itself a year from now. And the reason that Robb and I are able to live the life that we are, the reason we are debt-free at 27, my student loans are paid off. We have a really aggressive goal to pay off our mortgage in April of this year. That's due to the nature of this compensation plan. And that shift from trading my hour, my time for a certain paycheck, that's Lindsey talked about, Jess talked about, Kelly talked about, is the reason that inconsistency starts to happen, because you don't see that immediate paycheck on Friday. You don't see it right away. But when you dig your heels in and you really trust the process and find the joy in everything that you're doing, and you trust your upline and you trust your sponsors, and you're teachable and you're committed and you go for it and you put your head down and you get to work, you'll start to see that compound effect and that passive income grow. And so right now you're trading your time, your potential for growth in your business, the hard work that will result in some commissions, but not the ripple effect that you'll feel a year from now and 2 years from now if you just stayed consistent when you're doing other things. So I would love to see you guys share this in the boardroom, do this experiment for yourself, and identify the areas that you could sacrifice. I love the quote, it's not that it's not possible, it's that it's not a priority to you. Because like Jess is the perfect example, Lindsey is a perfect example, Diamond in 3 weeks, that's not because they have superpowers, that's because they rolled up their sleeves and they got to work. And there were no excuses, and they weren't waiting for anybody to save them or Google it for them or create a group for them. They were out there finding that information, failing forward, figuring out their schedule, learning as they go, listening to national wake-up calls. The issue right now, the issue for new coaches, the issue for this network is not that we don't know what to do. It's that we don't know what's the highest priority. It's not that there's no information, because years ago there was absolutely no public trainings and nobody was sharing anything and no one had a clue. Now, if you searched coach preview or challenge group tips or how to build your Beachbody business on YouTube, you would get a training from every single top coach. You would have access to all of their trainings. The issue is not that you don't know what to do. It's that you're overwhelmed with so much to do. So this is another way that you can kind of figure out what is most important, because like Jess said, at 3 a.m. or like Kelly said, when you're working at Starbucks on a timer, you've got to figure out what's most important. You've got to figure out what's urgent and important. So I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. And as a new coach, this may be something that's really scary because you don't know the answers to it. But what I want to assure you of is the more that you figure out what doesn't work, the closer that you get to what does work and what will work. And those failures that you experience it's just a check mark saying, well, that didn't work. Or maybe I'm going to try it again this way. So the first question that I want to ask of you is, what is required of me? So when we talk about running free groups or challenge groups, figure out, like Lindsey said, what is your word? Who do you want to become? What does that group look like for you? You get to decide how you coach. You get to decide how you use Beachbody programs in Shakeology. That's why it can be scary at times, but once you realize, like Lindsey said, that as a brand new coach, you are enough, you are qualified, the miles that you've already run are significant and meaningful to somebody out there on social media. Once you realize that, you have freedom to do it your way. So ask yourself, number 1, what is required of me? What is required of me to run a successful challenge group? Write down every single step. Even open up a new group in the Challenge Tracker app. Send out messages to last month's challengers. Write down every single step. What is required of you? You can also look at your 24/7 planner and say, wow, was scrolling on Facebook for an hour looking at other coaches' social media accounts, was that required of me in order to run a successful challenge group and be the person that I want to be and the coach that I want to be and help challengers the way that I want to help them? And this is where you have to, it's you versus you. I keep referring back to the other presenters, but like Lindsey said, like Jess said, like Kelly said, nobody is going to care about your mortgage but you. Nobody is going to fight to be home with your kids but you. No one is going to figure out how to make this work but you. Jess could hand you her exact schedule. She literally did, and it may not be the right fit for you. You have to roll up your sleeves and figure out, do I want to do this? Is it a priority for me? Who do I want to be in the process? But nobody is going to do this for you. We're here to cheer you on. We're here to share what's working. We're here to celebrate you. We're here to pick you up, but nobody is going to build your business but you. So you've got to be honest with yourself. You can't be delusional and try to sugarcoat things. The second question is, what gives me the greatest return? So I actually was reading these questions today, and there are lots of things that I do in my business. And what I realized gives me the greatest return in my business is posting every single day a daily progress photo check-in. There are 2 months this year that I did that. And the following month, because I did that and was proof every single day, I had over 20 Success Club points early on in the month. And that is an example of what gives me the greatest return. So look in your business, or look at what other coaches are doing, or look at what you've been doing and say to yourself, is this giving me a return, or is this busy work? Is this BS? Is this water cooler chat? Is this necessary, or is this helping me reach my goal, getting closer to being the most productive I can possibly be, exchanging my time for this? Am I exchanging my invaluable, precious time for something that is giving me return? So what is required of me? What gives me the greatest return? And then number 3, what is the most rewarding? What is the thing that you would do for free? What is the thing that, like Kelly said, it feels like it's your boyfriend, your new boyfriend, you're just in love, you would figure out any way to spend time doing this? Find the things in your business that give you that. And it might be different than what I do or what your coach does or what someone else shares that they love. For some people, they love challenge groups. For other people, they like creating meal plans or recipes or ebooks. Free groups. You could do a free group on anything. What is the thing that you love? What is most rewarding? What makes you feel all gooey inside and you say to yourself, I would just do this every day forever for free. I don't have to get paid. What is required of me? What gives me the greatest return? And what is most rewarding? Success in your work will be greatly increased if your 3 R's, required, return, rewarding, are similar. In other words, if the requirements of your job are the same as your strengths that give you the highest return, and doing those things bring you pleasure, then I will be successful if I act on my priorities. So it's about figuring out what you have to do. Like what does it really take? Where is the real meat? Where is the quantifiable, I'm helping people lose weight. I'm sharing these products with people and their lives are changing and they're in challenge groups and these challengers are becoming coaches and ambassadors and advocates of the product and they would just do it for free anyway. What is required to make that happen? What gives you the greatest return in those actions? Like Kelly said, she shouldn't be cleaning her house when she's trying to build her business and get things going because it's not the greatest return and it's not required of her. And what is the most rewarding? And when all of those things align, that is when you're in your sweet spot. That is how there will be failure, there will be tweaking, there will be little things that you say, that didn't work, or I've got to do it differently, or I totally dropped the ball, or I can't believe I forgot to do this. There's human moments in all of that. But that's how you start to build your momentum and find your flow. And for those of you guys that are working full-time jobs, this is not a full-time income for you. You're new or you're getting started or you're just getting back on the wagon and you're doing this. Remember that there's magic in part-time because you're working full-time for an income and you're working part-time on your legacy. You're working part-time on your fortune. And there's so much power in that. I remember when my coach, Shayna, when I signed up, she said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I have 5 jobs. You can make it work. You can do this. And that is what made it attractive to me. I was in school. I was in debt. I was an intern trying to get hired. You probably have a list of things that are also who you are. You are not just Beachbody coach. And that's the magic, is you can do this part-time. And when you say to somebody, yeah, I make $500 a month as a salary. That's my full-time income. There isn't power in that. That's like, wow, that's really rough. I'll see if my company's hiring. How are you eating? But when you say to somebody, oh yeah, I have a full-time job, but I also make, an extra 500, sometimes a little bit more on the side, fitness coaching, all of a sudden it becomes this extra income. It's the power of part-time. The $40 that you make, the $100 that you make, that commission check that you scoff at and think nobody will think this is important, nobody will think this is big enough or good enough. That could be babysitting money or groceries or just a little bit off of that mountain of debt, of student loan debt, of mortgage debt. It could be going toward a vacation and blessing so many people's lives. If you would start to see the power of what you're doing part-time and the power of what other people can do part-time. I was listening to an interview by Gary Vee. I listened to this radio station back in New York. It's Z100, Elvis Duran in the morning show. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to that show. I would, before personal development, I would listen to this on the way to work. And Gary Vee was interviewed by the morning show a few weeks back. And he put it into such infrequently stated terms that back when the past generation, when our parents or our grandparents were struggling or figuring out their career, when they came home, when they worked 9 to 5, 9 to 7, they had to go to night school or they had to find another job in order to get out of the debt, in order to make that transition from working a full-time job to starting a business. They had to figure out a way to make that happen. They had to burn the midnight oil. They had to make moves, and it was limited to where they were living, what the location was, what the opportunities were, how much money they had. And today we have the opportunity to pay $15.95 a month, guys. I think about the overhead, and it's just crazy. I mean, if you have to put your Shakeology on hold, put your Shakeology on hold. $15.95 a month, and you have unlimited potential, and you can work whenever, however you want. It's too good to be true. Excuse me. I remember Lindsey Matway did a national wake-up call 2 years ago. And it was the first national wake-up call of the year. And she talked about how from the day she signed up, she treated her business like $1 million business. And I know that a lot of you guys don't want $1 million business. You do this from your heart. You do this as a passion. You found yourself in doing this, and it's not about money and it's not about business. But what if you just treated it like $1 million business? I guarantee you, your time management, the way that you focus on the right actions, the way that you balance the things in your life, if you treat it like a real thing, like the real true opportunity that it is, you're going to find so much success. So guys, I want you to check out these PDFs. They're pretty simple, task lists. The only other thing that I wanted to share with you guys is the growth tracker. So on this growth tracker, what I have is I have a list of topics in this column. And then I have a list, it's a row of hearts right next to it. And then it says completed and then next level. So topics, number of sessions, completed, and next level. I didn't sign up as a person like this, as a leader like this, as an entrepreneur like this. I know Lindsey and Jess and Kelly, as much as who we are as individuals, as our worth, as who we are created as the story we have, as the life that we will live, is enough, is without rival, is right now 100% good enough and perfectly imperfect in every single way. We are also fiercely, equally as committed to personal growth and personal development, because your impact, your influence, and your income will never exceed your personal development. If you want level 10 success, you need to commit to level 10 personal growth. If you are experiencing level 1 success, it's probably because you're experiencing level 1 personal growth. And so what this growth tracker has right here is a list of topics: inviting, challenge groups, free groups, recruiting, social media, leadership, network marketing, confidence and growth, fitness and health, closing, vision and goal setting, duplication, communications and relationships, faith and purpose, action and consistency, time management. I know that my goals, I know that the coach that I want to be, I know that the leader that I want to be for this team and for my challengers and for my family is on the other side of doing all of this growth. And so what each heart represents, there are 10 hearts in each section, which what each heart represents is a personal development session. And so what this tracker is going to allow you to do is see where you are doing the most personal growth. So maybe you're super into learning about confidence and your value as a person, but you're not learning about recruiting and you're not doing business development. Or maybe you're doing so much work on inviting, but the reason your invitations are flopping is because you're not rooted to your higher calling and why you're really doing this. And so what this growth tracker is going to do is show you a clear picture of what you're doing, the actual personal development that you're doing for yourself, but then also where you need to do some work to be well balanced. So I could go on for a long time, guys. There's a lot of stuff in here. I'll do another video, but I just have to say the speakers on tonight are the real deal. When you see them on leaderboards, when you see their names in lights, it's not because they're, super competitive or, they're all about business or all about numbers. It's because they are so freaking awesome at managing their time, at focusing on what is required of them, what gives them the greatest return, and what is the most rewarding. And they don't wait for someone else to hand them success. They go out and they make it. They don't wait to find the time, they make the time. They realize that everything that they experience is up to them, and they get to set their alarm, and you get to set your alarm, and you get to decide if this January you're going to hit Success Club for the first time, or if you're going to hit it by the 5th, or if you're going to help 5 of your coaches hit Success Club 5 this month. It's up to you. So I just want to thank you guys for your time. I want to thank these hosts for being such incredible leaders. I never could have even imagined having an organization with such intelligent, passionate, kind, brilliant, hardworking, ambitious people. It blows me away. And so I know this call is going to be valuable for years to come. And I just want to thank them for their time, and thank you guys for your time. And I will see you in the groups, and I will see you next month on the last Monday of January for our next surge. Thank you guys so much.